Dear friends, sometimes the simplest questions arise from the most innocent hearts and have the power to touch the deepest places where words alone cannot reach. That afternoon, the soft light of the sunset fell over the small dining table when Maya raised her head, her eyes sparkling, and asked her mother in a sweet, gentle voice, "Mama, when will Papa come back?" Hwin froze, her chopsticks trembling in her hands. That question lingered in the quiet air like a strange, heartfelt melody. Tonight, I invite you to join us in those moments of silence, to feel the waiting, the nostalgia, and the invisible bonds that tie them together. Welcome to today's episode, When Will Papa Come Back? The morning light spread slowly, painting a warm picture over the quiet village. In front of the small wooden house, he stood still, his hand resting gently on the handlebar of his old motorcycle, freshly returned. The sun's rays made the metal gleam brightly, though traces of dust from the long journey still lingered. His reflection shimmered on the vehicle's surface, tired eyes, yet filled with deep gratitude. "Thank you all," he whispered, almost to himself. "My bike has finally come home." His warm, emotion-laden voice made it sound as if the motorcycle was not just an object but an old friend that had endured many hardships to return. A soft breeze stirred, lifting the fabric of his worn shirt, while the sounds of the village mingled with the murmur of the wind, like a kind greeting from the surroundings and the people around him. Everything came together in a moment filled with subtle but profound emotion. From the other side of the fence, the voice of an elderly man carried a tone of concern and affection. "Be careful on the road, Yi. The city is no place for dreamers." Yi paused for a moment, gazing at the red dirt road that wound out of the village. It wasn't the first time he'd heard those words, but today they felt different, like a farewell drawing near. He gave a faint smile, feeling the warmth in the old man's words, and adjusted the strap of his bag on his shoulder. "Yes, I will, sir," he replied with a calm, steady voice. Yet, inside, a slight unease began to grow. He looked at the long road ahead, where the dust rose in the morning light like hazy memories refusing to fade. A moment of silence passed. He stood motionless, his gaze lost on the distant path until it vanished behind the rows of green banana trees he had known for so many years. He wondered if the road ahead would be as he had imagined, or if it would simply be another challenge to face. Under the soft morning light, a sense of nostalgia and undefined longing filled his heart. "Today, I'm going to the city to find Adam, the man who helped me find Hwin," he murmured. The words came softly but carried an indescribable strength, certain, determined, yet full of hope. It seemed he didn't just want to find Adam but also to reclaim what he had lost with Hwin and those dreams that once felt so distant. He carefully put on his helmet, fastening the strap under his chin. The small click of the buckle echoed in the quiet air, a signal that he was ready to begin a new chapter. He gently pressed the throttle. The old motorcycle started with a soft hum, then the engine settled into its familiar rhythm, like a melody that had accompanied him through the years. That sound wasn't just a machine, it was part of his memories, part of his journey. Dust rose gently behind the wheels, floating like small clouds dancing in the morning light, light and serene, like the dreams still alive in his mind. From a distance, curious children saw him and waved. Their clear laughter broke the morning silence, filling the air with life. He raised his hand to wave back, his smile open, sincere, and radiant, a gesture of affection toward the loved ones he was leaving behind in the village. The warmth and innocence of those children gave him renewed strength, a fresh confidence that no matter the difficulties he might face, he could overcome them. He turned the motorcycle toward the open road. The engine roared louder, as if it, too, sensed the change in the air and in Ye's heart. The dust rose, mingling with the golden morning light, forming small clouds that danced gently. With each turn of the wheels, Ye felt the movement of his own life. A new chapter was beginning, full of challenges, yes, but also of hope. Each kilometer traveled was part of the journey, each step an effort to reclaim what was lost and discover what was yet to come. As he rode away, the scent of straw and smoke lingered in the air, like traces of a past impossible to erase. The image of the small house grew smaller in the rearview mirror until it vanished into the golden horizon, where the dawn illuminated the path ahead. He knew that, though the house was left behind, the memories of it and his loved ones would remain forever in his heart, a source of strength to keep going. The road stretched endlessly before his eyes, winding through vast fields that shimmered under the scorching afternoon sun. The silent, hazy blue sky seemed to ripple with waves of heat, while the steady song of cicadas marked the rhythm of the heavy air. Ye's motorcycle moved steadily over the cracked asphalt. The wheels crunched on dry gravel, and each turn took him farther from the small village but closer to the indelible memories he carried. The hot wind struck his face, dry and dense, carrying the scent of dust, gasoline, and ripe rice. With every breath, with every twist of the throttle, thoughts of Adam returned to his mind. The days they had searched for Hwin together, the encounters with strangers, the faint clues that had ultimately led them to a safe place. "Adam," he whispered, his voice barely louder than the engine's roar. "If it weren't for you, I never would have found her." A faint, warm, grateful smile crossed his lips, a silent tribute to the companion who had always been by his side, the friend who helped him overcome every obstacle. In that moment, the weight of the long road seemed a little lighter. Upon reaching a small roadside market, he slowed down and wiped the sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. A group of villagers rested in the shade of a tamarind tree, fanning themselves with old newspapers. Yi stopped the motorcycle, approached, and greeted them respectfully. "Excuse me, has anyone seen a man named Adam? He's tall, thin, from the north, and might be working near the market." An elderly man squinted, carefully studying the photo Yi showed him on his phone. Then he replied slowly, "At the Eastern Market, it seems there's someone like that. They say he's not doing well and is staying with a kind family taking care of him." A spark of concern flashed in Ye's eyes, but he only managed a quick "thank you." "Thank you, sir. I'll head there now." He returned to the motorcycle, adjusted the bag on his shoulder, and started the engine again. The machine's roar filled the air as he set off. With his gaze fixed on the horizon, his heart swelled with hope. He murmured with a barely visible smile, "Wait for me a little longer, Adam." "Adam," he repeated, his light voice fading into the warm wind, dissolving among the rice fields and the steady pulse of the journey. A solitary figure pressed forward, chasing an old friendship as the sunset's rays slowly fell, bathing everything in a serene, golden light. That morning, the mist still hadn't fully lifted. Hwin stepped out into the courtyard and leaned against the old wooden gate, which creaked softly under her hand. Her gaze followed the narrow path that disappeared among the bamboo, where familiar footsteps had faded away. She sighed with a mix of calm and melancholy and murmured to herself, "I wonder if he's reached the city yet. The road is so long, and the sun is already strong." The rustle of leaves stirred by the wind interrupted her thoughts, reminding her that time doesn't stop. Suddenly, a clear laugh rang out behind her. Maya appeared, her eyes shining like stars, holding a crumpled drawing in her small hands. "Mama!" she said with excitement, tugging at Hwin's hand. "I drew Uncle Yi riding back. Do you think he'll like it?" Hwin smiled tenderly, her heart full of love. She knelt to look into her daughter's eyes and replied softly, "He'll love it, my dear. When he comes back, we'll show it to him." "Yes." Maya nodded, her braids bouncing joyfully as she ran off, her laughter filling the warm afternoon air. Everything around seemed to pause for a moment, as the innocence of a child brought simple joy and sweet anticipation, like a warm promise of beautiful things yet to come. He stopped the motorcycle in front of a small house hidden among dense greenery. The old wooden door facing the dirt path seemed to wait, a silent symbol of return. He took a deep breath, his chest filled with a mix of emotions. Then he stepped toward the entrance and knocked softly. His voice broke the silence. "Adam, are you there?" From inside came a weak, barely audible voice, heavy with fatigue. "Who is it?" He answered immediately, pushed the door open, and entered. The room was small, dimly lit, damp, and covered in a thin layer of dust. Adam lay on an old bed, his thin frame and weary eyes dulled by exhaustion. He approached, and seeing him so frail, he felt something tighten in his chest. "Adam," he said softly, helping him sit up. "What's wrong? You look so pale and thin." Adam looked at him, and in his tired eyes, a familiar spark flickered, a glimmer of strength. He sighed and, with a weak but firm voice, replied, "I'm fine." "Why are you here? How did you know I was here?" He sat beside the bed, studying him closely, as if trying to find the close friend he had known years ago. Adam's question didn't surprise him, but it stirred a quiet sadness. They had been through so much together, and now, seeing him so weak and worn, hurt deeply. "No, you're not fine, Adam," he said, his voice low and filled with concern. "You've been fighting for too long. You need to rest, to take care of yourself. Come back with me to the north. Mama's there, and the people who love you can look after you." Adam fell silent for a moment, his gaze distant, as if weighing the proposal. Then he shook his head gently, not out of unwillingness but from the doubt and fear of someone who had already fallen once. "You know, Yi, I don't want to be a burden to anyone. Everyone already has enough worries." Yi took his hand firmly, looking at him with determination. "You're not a burden, Adam. We're friends. Remember, friends help each other, especially when things get tough. I'll take you to the north with me. I'll be by your side. We'll visit Mama, and you can rest. You need a place to heal, to regain your strength." A brief silence followed. Adam looked up at Yi, and in that exchange of glances, he seemed to recognize the sincerity and deep care in his words. Finally, he nodded, still with a trace of doubt in his eyes but also with the realization that returning was the right thing, not just for him, but for everyone who cared about him. "Okay, I'll go with you," he said in a hoarse but calmer voice, as if a weight had begun to lift. He smiled and gave him a gentle pat on the hand. "Thank you, Adam. We'll go back together. Everything will be all right." He stood, helped Adam to his feet, and supported him toward the door. Together, they took the first steps of a new journey, one that meant not only recovering health but also rediscovering the bonds of friendship and family. And now, dear friends, the story isn't over yet. I invite you to stay with us in the next episode to discover the exciting path that awaits them. Will Adam recover soon and continue alongside Yi? What challenges will they face ahead? Don't miss what's coming, full of emotion and hope. To Adam, our warmest words. Stay strong, never lose faith in yourself or those around you. Rest, recover, and come back to us. We'll continue this journey together. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for what the next episode will bring.